A hospital room, white ceiling, slow beeping machine, breathing heavier than usual, and one thought cutting deeper than death itself. What if I actually tried? That question is more terrifying than failure. Because failure at least proves you moved. Wondering proves you didn't. There's a version of you that never gets built. Not because you weren't capable, because you hesitated, because you waited, because you kept negotiating with comfort. And one day, time stops negotiating back. This isn't about becoming famous. This isn't about becoming rich. This is about something worse. Wasted capacity. Unused strength. Unapplied intelligence. Unrealized dominance. You feel it already. That tension in your chest when you see someone your age operating at a higher level. Not jealousy. Recognition. Recognition that you could be further. Recognition that you've been playing safe. Safe choices feel logical. Safe schedules feel responsible. Safe goals feel mature. But safe lives produce silent regret. And regret doesn't scream. It whispers at night. When distractions shut down. When you're alone with your thoughts. What if I committed? What if I stopped doubting? What if I actually tested my limits? That voice isn't insecurity. It's awareness. Awareness of unused potential. You don't fear death. You fear average. You fear reaching the end and realizing you never truly went all in. That fear is healthy. That fear is powerful. But only if you use it. Most people bury it. They scroll it away. They joke it away. They rationalize it away. I'm still young. I have time. Next year. Time isn't guaranteed. Energy isn't permanent. Opportunities don't wait forever. And potential decays when unused. Muscle weakens without tension. Skill fades without repetition. Confidence shrinks without challenge. The longer you delay, the heavier it becomes. And here's the brutal truth. The world doesn't care about what you could have become. It only responds to what you built. Nobody rewards hidden potential. Nobody celebrates internal dreams. Results are visible. Effort is visible. Execution is visible. Dreaming is not. You say you want more. More strength. More money. More freedom. More control. But wanting isn't rare. Commitment is. Commitment means risk. Commitment means exposure. Commitment means you might fail publicly. And ego hates that. Ego prefers mystery, because mystery protects image. As long as you never try fully, you can always say, I could have. That's comfortable, but it's poison. I could have becomes a lifelong sentence, a permanent mental prison. You protect your pride, but sacrifice your growth. And years pass. Skill stays average. Body stays average. Mind stays average. Because you never tested it properly. You never removed the safety net. You never bet on yourself completely. The scariest part, you start convincing yourself this is enough. You shrink your standards to match your output. You lower ambition to protect identity. You stop dreaming aggressively. Not because you can't, because it hurts to admit you're underperforming. That's the real pain. Self-awareness without action. It burns. But that burn is fuel. If you let it be, right now there's a fork in your path. One direction. Comfortable progression. Predictable growth. Safe identity. The other direction, uncertainty. Pressure. Expansion. The first feels stable. The second builds legends. Anime protagonists aren't built in comfort. They're built in crisis. When they get crushed. When they realize their current level isn't enough. That's where transformation begins. You don't awaken potential by wishing. You awaken it by confronting your limits directly. You don't find yourself. You forge yourself under pressure, under discipline, under repetition. That means fewer excuses, fewer delays, fewer emotional negotiations. You stop asking, do I feel ready? You start declaring, I'm doing it anyway. That shift changes trajectory. Because confidence doesn't come first. Action does. You don't need certainty. You need courage. Small courage. Repeated daily. One uncomfortable task. One difficult conversation. One extra hour of focus. One disciplined decision. Stack those. And something shifts internally. You begin respecting yourself. Self-respect changes posture, changes voice, changes decision-making. Because now you know, you're not avoiding anymore. You're testing. And testing destroys the what if. Every attempt removes doubt. Every rep removes hesitation. Every risk reduces future regret. That's the solution. Not motivation. Not hype. Not aesthetic edits. Execution. Daily. Unromantic. Unapologetic. You don't need applause. You need proof. Proof that you're not wasting your life. Proof that you're expanding. Proof that you're becoming a harder to ignore. The ghost of untested potential only haunts the inactive. Move. It disappears. Stay stagnant. It grows louder. This is your moment of awareness. Most people close the video here and go back to comfort. Few use this as a turning point. Decide now. Are you protecting image or building capacity? Because one protects ego, the other builds identity. And identity decides destiny. This is just the beginning. Safety feels intelligent. In the beginning, it feels mature, responsible, controlled. You convince yourself that moving carefully is wisdom, that staying in familiar territory is stability. But over time, safety becomes slow suffocation. Playing safe doesn't destroy you instantly. It erodes you gradually. You keep your job, but kill your ambition. You protect your ego, but shrink your potential. You avoid embarrassment, but also avoid growth. Nothing dramatic happens. That's the danger. Your life becomes fine. And fine is the most dangerous word in the English language. Fine means no urgency, no fire, no edge, just existence on autopilot. You wake up, work, scroll, sleep, repeat. Weeks turn into months, months into years. Because nothing is collapsing, you assume nothing is wrong, but deep inside, something feels underused. That feeling isn't anxiety. It's unused capacity pressing against the walls of your comfort zone. You are not built for neutral living. You are not designed for passive routines. There is aggression in your design. There is expansion coded into you. But expansion requires exposure. And exposure is uncomfortable. Playing safe protects your image. It allows you to say, I could have done more. It keeps your potential theoretical. Untested potential always feels powerful in imagination. Reality is harsher. Because once you test yourself, you get results. Some wins, some losses. And ego hates that uncertainty. So instead of risking failure, most people protect possibility. They'd rather remain a maybe than risk becoming a visible failure. But here's the truth most won't admit. Remaining a maybe is the slowest form of failure. When you avoid hard challenges, you avoid discovering your real ceiling. When you avoid high standards, you guarantee average outcomes. When you avoid risk, you avoid leverage. And leverage is everything. Leverage creates options. Options create freedom. Freedom creates power. Safety removes leverage. The safe path keeps you predictable, replaceable, easy to overlook. You might survive, but you won't dominate. And deep down, You don't want to just survive. You want to test yourself at full intensity. You want to see what happens if you go all in. If you stop negotiating with weakness. If you stop lowering standards to match current effort. But going all in means cutting excuses. It means waking up when it's easier to sleep, training when it's easier to relax, studying when it's easier to distract yourself. Safe people optimize for comfort. Relentless people optimize for growth. There's a massive difference. Comfort seeks immediate relief. Growth seeks long-term expansion. Comfort feels good today. Growth feels powerful later. And most people are addicted to today. Immediate comfort is seductive. It whispers, you deserve a break. It says, start tomorrow. It promises that one missed day won't matter. One day doesn't matter. But repeated days build identity. And identity determines outcomes. If your daily pattern avoids tension, your identity becomes fragile. If your daily pattern seeks friction, your identity becomes resilient. Resilience cannot be borrowed. It must be built. And it is built through chosen discomfort. You cannot grow strong while protecting yourself from pressure. You cannot become elite while fearing judgment. You cannot become powerful while staying small. Playing safe keeps your world narrow. Narrow circles, narrow ambitions, narrow risks. It feels controlled, but it limits expansion. Expansion requires friction. Friction builds heat. Heat forges strength. That's the formula. Every anime transformation arc begins the same way. The character realizes their current level isn't enough. They get humbled, overpowered, exposed. And instead of retreating into safety, they train harder. Not because it's comfortable, because it's necessary. That's the shift. You either react to discomfort by retreating, or you react by upgrading. Right now, if you're honest, you know where you've been retreating, where you've been choosing easy instead of effective, where you've been protecting pride instead of building power. Playing safe costs more than failing. Failure stings temporarily. Safety robs permanently, because failure teaches. Safety numbs. Numb people don't evolve. They exist. And existing without expansion is slow regret in disguise. You don't need to be reckless. You need to be intentional. Take calculated risks. Increase your output. Raise your standards. Set goals that scare you slightly. Not fantasy goals. Demanding ones. Goals that require discipline to sustain. Once you start choosing challenge deliberately, something changes internally. Your posture shifts. Your energy sharpens. Your mind becomes clearer because you're no longer hiding. You're engaging. And engagement kills what if. Every action reduces future doubt. Every bold decision chips away at regret. The safe path looks peaceful, but peace without growth becomes stagnation. And stagnation is quiet decay. So the question becomes simple. Are you optimizing for comfort, or are you optimizing for capability? Because one builds a calm, average life. The other builds a powerful one. The pain of not trying. Failure bruises the ego, but hesitation corrodes the soul. One hurts your pride. The other rewrites your identity. You can recover from losing. You don't recover from never stepping forward. Because every avoided risk leaves a mark. Not outside. Inside. You start negotiating with your own standards. You promise intensity tomorrow. You promise focus next week. You promise discipline when things settle down. Nothing settles down. Life stays chaotic. Energy fluctuates. Motivation disappears. And while you wait for perfect conditions, time moves quietly. You don't notice decay immediately. You still function. You still earn. you still exist. Something sharp inside you dulls. That edge you once felt, blunted. That hunger you once had, muted. Because hunger requires movement, and movement requires risk. The pain of trying is sharp and loud. The pain of not trying is quiet and constant. It sits in your chest when you see someone your age executing harder. It surfaces when you realize you had the same 24 hours. It whispers when you scroll past greatness. You don't hate them. You recognize yourself in them. That's what stings. Untested potential is heavy. It follows you into relationships, into career decisions, into late-night silence. You start shrinking goals to match effort, instead of raising effort to match goals. That shift is dangerous, because once you lower your internal standard, you normalize mediocrity. Mediocrity is addictive. It doesn't demand much. It doesn't expose you. It doesn't threaten ego. But it also doesn't build power. You are not built for neutral living. There is aggression in your design, expansion coded into your nervous system. That restless feeling you get, it's not anxiety. It's unused force. You can distract it. You can numb it. You can scroll it away. But you can't delete it. It waits. And every year you ignore it, it grows louder. The real tragedy isn't failing publicly. It's aging privately with unanswered questions. What if I committed? What if I stopped hesitating? What if I pushed past comfort for 5 straight years? Those questions become heavier at 30, heavier at 40, heavier at 50, until they stop being questions and become regret. Regret is proof you knew better and still chose smaller. That's the pain you should fear, not embarrassment, not temporary loss, but the slow realization that you never tested yourself. Because once you test yourself fully, win or lose, the what if dies, and freedom begins. Every level has a ceiling, and most people never even touch theirs. Not because it's too high, because they stop climbing early. They feel resistance and interpret it as a limit. They feel pressure and call it stress. They feel fear and label it a warning. It's not a warning. It's a doorway. The moment things get difficult is usually the moment you're approaching expansion. But expansion feels violent. Your old habits fight back. Your old identity resists upgrade. Your comfort zone tightens its grip. Because growth threatens familiarity. And familiarity feels safe. You don't break ceilings gently. You shatter them through repetition. Through waking up when you don't want to. Through working when distraction feels easier. Through training when your body suggests rest. Ceilings don't respond to emotion. They respond to force. Consistent force. Most people test themselves once, maybe twice. Then they retreat. They assume that because something is hard, it must not be for them. Wrong. Hard is the filter. Hard is the separating line. If it was easy, everyone would break through. Your ceiling is not talent-based. It's tolerance-based. How much pressure can you sustain? How much boredom can you endure? How many reps can you execute without applause? That determines elevation, not hype, not motivation, endurance. There's a version of you operating at a higher frequency, stronger body, sharper mind, disciplined schedule, controlled emotions. That version isn't fantasy. It's conditional. It activates when behavior changes. But behavior won't change until standards rise. And standards won't rise until you get tired of your current level. Be honest. Some part of you is frustrated. Not at life, at yourself, because you know you've been capable of more. That frustration, good. Use it. Let it turn into aggression toward your limits. Not anger at the world, not jealousy toward others, aggression toward stagnation. When you feel tired, go anyway. When you feel uncertain, move anyway. When you feel exposed, execute anyway. Ceilings crack under persistence, not intensity bursts, not one dramatic week, daily pressure, over time. Think about this carefully. If you applied focused effort for 5 years, with 0 excuses, who would you become? Stronger than 95% of your peers, more disciplined than most competitors, mentally harder than average men. That's not exaggeration. That's math. Because most people quit early. They hit the first ceiling and call it fate. You hit it and call it phase 1. That's the difference. Breaking ceilings requires identity shift. You stop seeing yourself as someone trying. You start seeing yourself as someone who endures. Endurance becomes default. Pressure becomes normal. When pressure becomes normal, growth accelerates. You don't complain about difficulty. You expect it. You don't fear discomfort. You schedule it. You don't ask if you're ready. You act until you are. That's how ceilings break. Not through talent, through repeated confrontation. And once you break one ceiling, something changes permanently. You realize limits were illusions, and illusions lose power once exposed. That's when momentum begins. And momentum kills hesitation. Discipline isn't the real transformation. Identity is. You can force yourself to wake up early for a week. You can push hard for a month. You can grind when motivation spikes. That's temporary. Real change happens when effort stops feeling optional, when discipline becomes standard, when excuses feel embarrassing, when mediocrity feels uncomfortable. That shift is internal. You stop asking, "Do I feel like it?" You start saying, "This is who I am." Identity removes negotiation. A person who sees himself as average negotiates with effort. A person who sees himself as relentless eliminates negotiation. You don't rise to goals. You fall to identity. If you still identify as someone who quits when tired, you will. If you still see yourself as inconsistent, you'll prove it again. Identity drives behavior. Behavior reinforces identity. It's a loop. Break the weak identity. Build a stronger one. Start small. Keep promises to yourself. Train when you said you would. Study when you planned to. Execute what you committed to. Every kept promise upgrades identity. Every broken promise weakens it. That's why self-trust matters more than motivation. If you don't trust yourself, you hesitate. If you trust yourself, you move decisively. Self-trust is earned through repetition, not words, not vision boards, not affirmations. Action, repeated under pressure. When you start acting in alignment with a higher version of yourself, something shifts. Your posture changes. Your tone sharpens. Your tolerance for nonsense decreases. You stop chasing validation. You chase standards. You stop explaining your ambition. You embody it. That's when people notice. Not when you announce change. When you display it. Quietly. Consistently. The identity shift also kills what if. Because now you're not wondering. You're building. You're not fantasizing about potential. You're expanding it. Day by day. The weak identity says, "I hope I make it." The upgraded identity says, "I don't stop." Hope is fragile. Relentlessness is durable. Once you adopt the identity of someone who endures, setbacks lose emotional power. You don't spiral. You adjust. You don't quit. You recalibrate. Because quitting would contradict who you are. An identity hates contradiction. So you build one that serves you. One that demands more. One that refuses to shrink. That's the real upgrade. Not external success. internal alignment. When who you are matches what you say you want, that's power. Imagine the final version of your life, not the highlight reel, not the filtered memories. The quiet final chapter. Breath slower, body weaker, noise faded, and only one thing left with you. Your choices, not intentions, not plans, not potential. Choices. Did you test yourself? Did you push when it was uncomfortable? Did you demand more from your body, your mind, your standards? Or did you protect comfort and call it balance? This is the confrontation most people avoid because it strips excuses. You won't care how busy you were. You won't care how safe you played it. You won't care how logical your fears sounded. You will care whether you built the strongest version of yourself. That's it. The fear of death isn't what drives high performers. It's the fear of unfinished potential. The fear of meeting the end and realizing you operated at 60%. That you had another gear, never used it. Right now, you're still in the middle of the story, which means the ending is still adjustable. But adjustment requires decision, not emotion. Decision, a clean internal line. I refuse to shrink. No drama, no announcement, just commitment. You don't need to transform overnight. You need to eliminate retreat. Stop backing down from pressure. Stop lowering standards when it gets hard. Stop protecting ego over growth. Choose hard training. Choose disciplined focus. Choose long-term expansion over short-term comfort. Because pain is guaranteed. The pain of effort, or the pain of regret. One strengthens you, the other haunts you. What if can either be your nightmare or your fuel. You can let it follow you for decades, or you can silence it through action. Every rep you complete, every skill you sharpen, every uncomfortable move you make, you're killing doubt. You're killing hesitation. You're killing the version of you that almost tried, and replacing it with someone dangerous, not loud, not reckless. Dangerous because you don't stop. Dangerous because you endure. Dangerous because you refuse to die, wondering what you could have become. This isn't about proving anything to the world. It's about proving something to yourself. That you didn't flinch. You didn't fold. That you didn't waste your edge. So here's the decision. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Now, what are you avoiding that you know you need to attack? Start there. No speech. No countdown. Move. And every time hesitation appears, remember the hospital ceiling. Remember the slow breath. Remember the question. And answer it with action. Refuse regret. Refuse average. Refuse to die wondering. Now build.